you know, like because he definitely backed this movie. And I actually pulled up. I have. We can play it a little later, but I have the interview of him talking about how the movie's good, and I thought that was interesting. But yeah, really? I don't know.
To me, it's just a bad movie.
That's the whole point of us doing this episode is to tear it apart.
Yeah.
So you can't be mad at me because I told you.
No, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you.
I just thought it'd be fun to kind of change it up, you know.
I knew what this was when I walked into it, but yeah, it's just like it feels. It's only 96 minutes and it feels like it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it does drag on.
It does, yeah.
It drags on. It doesn't get to the point. I'm not entirely sure if the science is tight. Or like, you know, like if it's like factual based in science, but the science seems kind of bogus. Mm-hmm. I'm not really entirely sure what the thing wanted. I get what the creature wanted. I guess it wanted to take over the world. Or
my big question is why does it manifest into a lizard? What? Why is that relevant? Why?
I don't know. It just seems like this author wanted to, like, I guess he saw the thing and was like, oh, I can do that. And then just decided to do a piss poor version of it. Ben Affleck's miscast as a sheriff. I don't know why he was cast.
How old was he in this?
He was like, I don't know,
28.
Like 28. Yeah, he's too young to be.
He's like a retired FBI agent.
He he was big because of Good Will Hunting. That had already been done, right?
That's probably right. Yeah. I don't know why.
This just seems like Scream fodder.
Yeah,
like you know, they try to do all these hip young movies. You can tell with the
casting of Rose McGowan and
not just that, but even like the bad cover art where it's just them lined up together, exactly like Scream. All dressed in black, and they're not wearing what they wear in the movie. It's weird. It's just weird.
It's bad.
But this was from '98. I don't know.
I like when the older sisters trying to figure out how to put a shotgun shell into the shotgun.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, here. She's like, the perks of living in L.A.
Or L.A.'s good for something.
Yeah, L.A.'s good for something. And she's like, L.A. taught me how to load a shotgun, apparently.
Okay.
Because you're so hood.
That came out of nowhere. I don't really like Lee Schreiber's character.
You don't like him?
No.
I thought I feel like he's probably maybe the best character.
He was too on the nose. I'm not really entirely sure what they were trying to get at with him because they hint at stuff.
But you already, from the beginning, you already see that he's kind of like off. He's weird. He's kind of...
And then, like, they hint at it and they never address it, and then he gets killed off, and then he comes back so late in the film that I forgot that he was there. You know what I mean? Like, the special effects are... I mean, I know it was in 1998, but, I mean, Jurassic Park was in 1993, and those special effects still hold up, and these special effects are just bad.
Well, I'll give it this. Even though the dog thing is obviously a clear, you could call it a homage or whatever,
a ripoff.
I feel like that was kind of maybe this film's strong, but other than the Liev Schreiber fight at the end, it was probably this film's strongest scene.
Yeah,
when it attacks all
everybody in the church
through the masks.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool visually, at least from. Judging it purely on what we saw before that point, that was interesting.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. This just seemed like it. I don't know why this needed to exist, you know. And you know, like I hate to sound that pretentious, but like I don't know why this movie needed to be made because it wasn't a very good. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't. It just.
Well, I have a feeling that. Making the movie, they weren't like, oh, this movie's gonna suck so bad, I can't wait to make it. But I know they're like,
I don't know. It seemed like Ben Affleck didn't really want to be there from the acting, from the performance he gave. He seemed like
I give that to the writing.
Yeah,
because there was like how Wes said there was no real type of attachment to any characters. You didn't really get. No one was really like you couldn't. Dive deep in anybody,
especially because you go into it and they want you to feel so much for those two sisters.
Yeah,
the whole story is kind of based around them going to like meet somebody and have dinner, and then all of a sudden they those characters almost become meaningless.
Yeah, they become background characters.
And it's like, why?
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever really come back around besides the fight between,
Trevor.
Leave.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's just weird, like stilted, a weird story, man.
I think the author actually wrote the script, I think I saw that he had written the script for this, which is like, wow. I don't know if your material is bad or if you're a piss poor screenwriter or something, but this is
I don't know if it was just the direction.
Maybe the director mishandled it, but it's kind of, it's pretty bad.
There's also it gets a little better towards the middle, but some of the editing choices is like, ugh, transitioning and stuff. It's just like, why?
It's,
Yeah,
especially the editing with the creatures and when it's attacking people, it's just choppy and stuff. And they do the dreaded monster POV shot, which is just lame and overused even by the 90s. There's just so much about this that just like doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's why nobody talks about this film.
Yeah. That's why it's 13%.
But we have this thing that happens where when we talk about something, it becomes relevant. So I'm just waiting after we release this episode. Everybody's gonna start talking about Phantoms for some reason.
Start seeing some Phantom T-shirts or something.
And I'm gonna tag you in these posts because I swear they fucking happen.
It happens. I remember
they happen.
Oh
dude.
man, yeah.
We are not pulling our own. We're not yanking our chains for sure. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
You guys start trends.
Like we did Last Action Hero. Everybody starts talking about that movie. Who the fuck talked about Last Action Hero before we reviewed it? I don't know, man. We'll see.
Shit.
I wanted to veering off from this bad horror film. What would your guys' favorite 90s horror film be if you had to choose one? You could only choose one. It can be from any spectrum. But what would you say?
On a spectrum of 1 to 10.
No, what would your favorite 90s film be?
Oh, favorite 90s film?
Yeah, horror film. Sorry.
Scream.
Okay. That was our first episode, actually, man.
Really?
For this podcast.
I wish I was on there.
Yeah.
Is The Faculty a horror movie?
Yeah.
Okay, is that in the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like, 98, I think?
I'll do The Faculty.
We can Google 90s horror movies.
Because Scream's a good one.
Yeah, Scream is a pinnacle.
Yeah, Scream's like my favorite. You have Scream, Silence of the Lambs, which won Best Picture. Blair Witch Project.
Nope.
The Sixth Sense, Candyman, Misery, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jacob's Ladder, In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter, The Faculty, Seven, Dead or Alive, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Army of Darkness, Ring, The Craft, Event Horizon, Urban Legend, Tremors, Stir of Echoes, Halloween, H2O, Scream 2, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Audition, which is a big cult thing.
Mine would have to be between The Faculty and Tremors.
Okay.
Just because I know we've watched it before.
Yeah.
Chronos, Gremlins 2, Cape Fear.
Gremlins 2 came out in the 90s, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun's crazy.
And Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, yeah. I just watched that for Friday the 13th.
Did you?
Yeah. But yeah.
It's fucking bad, but it's so bad that it's good. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
So you said Scream?
Yes.
The original Scream?
Yes.
And a tie between The Faculty and Tremors, right? Tremors, that's an interesting pick, man. You don't hear about that very
I haven't
much.
seen Tremors or The Faculty.
You haven't?
No.
You've never seen The Faculty?
I'm not a big horror guy, so...
But it's fun. It's fun in the way that Scream is fun, I think.
I haven't seen it. How would I know?
Okay.
I've never seen it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you should.
Did you say yours already?
No. It was one of the ones you said. Oh, I would have to say Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah.
Which we did.
Pretty good.
We did that one. Yeah, that was cool.
We did an episode on that. It's so meta and so it was so like years ahead of its time. I don't even know how that was made, but yeah, that's a very impressive film. And I dig Freddy's look and how they made him look different. Like in reality, he looks not cheesy Robert Englund. I love that. But yeah, what else do you want to talk about for Phantoms? Going back to this bad movie. Oh, Miramax. You know, The Faculty actually was a box office bomb too.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. They didn't want to put it out, I think, on Blu-ray for a while because I guess it didn't do well. But I have no idea why because it's so good. I know you don't like Robert Rodriguez, but he directed it. But it's a fun movie. It's got a fun cast,
yeah.
And I think it's a good movie, man. But anyway, I just mentioned that because they're both Miramax under the Dimension home video stamp, which I loved. I've loved them since I was a kid.
Put some solid work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This is a bad movie. Thank you for letting me sit through this travesty. I appreciate it.
Do you guys want to hear the Dean Koontz talking to you about it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only about a minute or so.
No, that's cool.
It's fast. Let's go.
I'm going to say this is a scary picture. It's full of suspense. I call it mainly a contemporary science fiction thriller. It's set in a contemporary thrilling, but it's science fictional because it's logical. It follows a logical story pattern. And a supernatural story, a horror story, anything can happen. In this movie, not anything can happen. The creature has to play within certain rules. All the conditions of the set, of the background of the story are set. And now that makes it a bigger challenge for the people trapped in this storyline. Every scene can be visualized in so many different ways. And Joe Chappelle we're very fortunate there because he's a wonderfully visual director and really brought this alive. I think once I wrote the script, I think Joel liked about the script all the things that I liked. Of course, I liked it because I wrote it. The things that were central to the script that were different ideas than were the things that Joel was a real champion of as a producer. That we're not just dealing with some eating machine that's going around killing people, but you're up against something intelligent. And where does that intelligence come from, and what is it like? And it raises a level of jeopardy, I think. If you're dealing with a giant shark or a giant alligator, that can be scary, but if you're dealing with something that maybe is as smarter than you are, that's scarier.
All right, so that was Dean talking about his film.
It's funny you mention, or he mentions that like you don't know, like where.
Keep in mind this was from '98. This was probably like part of the release junket stuff.
He says like the creature, you don't know how it gets its intelligence. But in the movie, they tell you, he's like, when it eats people, it gains their knowledge, and that's how you. I mean, I guess if he's talking about like from the beginning, you don't know what it is or if it's smart, but they kind of explain to you. Or the scientist guy, Dr. Thymes or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He says that it's like a what was he say, a tapeworm? Or something like that, a flatworm.
Yeah, flatworm.
Flatworm. That if you, just watch the movie and you'll know what I'm talking about. The flatworm, but
which is super. That's interesting because I think that's somewhat based in
like real science.
Yeah. It's like okay, but I don't really like the tonal change of this film either. Like it starts off as one thing.
Yeah.
And then it turns into something completely else. Like, why were those heads decapitated in the oven?
Oh yeah, it doesn't make no sense.
Like, what was that there for? You know what I mean?
So
like,
it came out of nowhere.
And they never
just put some heads in an oven.
And they never explain. And even Ben Affleck's like, no, this isn't like what we've seen before. These are not like the other bodies. These are decapitated. Why were they decapitated like that?
And then the hands were cut off.
Yeah.
As she was rolling some dough.
You know? And then it just keeps kind of moving on, and then
it's like, oh, don't worry about that. That's nothing. Just worry about the next scene.
Yeah, the one a big scene that I actually do like, and I told somebody this other night too. I really like that scene when they're in the house and that Patsy Cline song is playing, Faulted Pieces, for the first time, and they're walking through the house and they don't know what to expect, and I feel like that kind of builds some tension.
Yeah, it's a really creepy moment.
And they build something, and then it ultimately kind of falls flat too. And I don't